Syngenta Canada and C&M Seeds present the Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com.
So obviously we know if we've had wireworm damage once the crops come up, because we'll see some serious activity. But what's a way that we can check for wireworms before we even put the seed in the ground?
Some of the ways you can check before you're sitting behind your drill and moving seed about, looking for depth and seeing these orange worms run around, and by then it's too late, is actually being proactive and really coming to your field before your seed. It is a step that maybe will actually help you out determining if wireworms. And it's as simple as really making some bait balls, and a bait ball is simply taking some oatmeal and some water and making about a baseball sized ball and making sure you have some honey mixed in there, because that causes the fermentation process. That fermentation process takes CO2. That's what the wireworm's drawing to. And so why they're drawing to specific seeds is when that seed germinates underground and starts to grow, it releases CO2. And that's why the wireworm comes along and it feeds along a row, because it's got a consistent food source along the row. The bait ball is going to help you determine if you have wireworms, but not to a certain extent of population-wise. Population-wise is a tougher to do, but you can start to look at that and say, hey, okay, I've got wireworms in this particular field. What are the other management tools do I need to do to protect my investment, your seed that's going into the ground?
Well, let's look in your tickle trunk here, and let's your Cruiser Max tickle trunk. And let's see how we do the bait balls.
So it's quite an easy process, Sean. There's not really much to it. You need a couple things really. I really insist on flags, because once you dig that hole and put the ball in, you need to mark it, and it's tough when you forget to put a flag in to find where you put that bait ball. So predominantly oatmeal is the best source that you'd like to use. So
I guess what benefit does the oatmeal provide? They like the oatmeal, or is it just
the oatmeal and the honey create that fermentation, releasing CO2, and so that's why we want to use it. We want to get CO2. They're attracted to CO2, and it's a food source. Combining some oatmeal.
So is there a certain time of year while you're doing this? Is there a certain time of year that you should be doing this, like right at springtime like this? Or a little bit earlier, or when?
It's tough to say, because the wireworm itself, from looking at R&D and talking to experts, wireworms will become active with soil temperatures around that 3 to 5 degrees Celsius. So anytime really early spring, when you get a chance to get onto the land before you seed, it's a good chance.
So right now we're April 11th, so good time to do it then. I
think probably a good time, depending on where you are in Western Canada.
You don't have to use Perrier water to do this. We just filled it.
I'm a bit of a fancy pants, so basically it's as simple. You can do this in the field, or you can actually do this in your own home and do it beforehand and freeze the balls. But it's as simple as making a baseball size with there's some honey in here and the water just to hold everything together.
Okay.
The next thing you want to do is by planting it realistic, you just want to select some areas of the field to plant, so it can be as random as possible. But one of the things is looking at trends too. If you've seen some spots that you've thought maybe, okay, why did this die? I'm not sure why. Maybe it was fertilizer burn, maybe my drill was plugged. That's maybe a good indication where you've got some damage. You're not sure what's happened. That's maybe a good place to start. But it's just as simple as
So we're in an irrigated field here, so it's quite tilled. So
you want to get really your hole dug to probably where the ball sits, about 2 inches below the surface of the soil.
It's quite dry here.
And so by doing that, it enables the chance for hitting the soil where it's wet and cool. So it's as simple as digging your hole
And like I said, you've got your bait ball. Just as simple as dropping your bait ball, covering that hole up.
That easy.
That easy. But again, I stress that
Because how are you ever going to find it if you don't use a flag?
I stress you put the flag in, because you won't be able to find it unless you've got your flag in.
Also, when you're done, make sure you do take some water and just spread it through. You should usually do it when the hole's exposed, but by doing this, it just ensures that you're going to get some germination, not just you're going to get some fermentation process with the bait ball. Yeah, I would come back usually 7 to 10 days is a good indication of when you're going to have a chance to really have that bait ball have a chance to get there and wireworms are attracted.
Obviously, if there's no activity, bait ball looks the same. If we come back and we do have wireworms, what should that bait ball look like?
Well, you're going to pick that bait ball up and have a look at it. If you see, you're going to, depending if the wireworms, you may find the wireworms still there feeding through it, or you may see holes through that caused by the wireworm. Usually they'll be sticking around, you'll actually physically see the wireworms there, and that's a really good indication that, okay, I've got wireworms in this particular field. What are the management tools in place? Do I need to protect my investment now?